Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Yo, check it out. This was a crazy story you must watch. I know I've been off for a moment, but check this out. On the left, you got the father, right? Abdul Robinson. On the right, you got, the son. Now, the father's in the van, and 4 of his sons is with him. 2 of them gets, bodied, gets unalive, and he gets hit up 3 times in the back while he's out and about. Now, the other son, he comes in and he goes out and he allegedly gets revenge for his father and his 2 brothers. And then you won't even believe what happened next. This is a true hood story, so you understand how real dirty and grimy the hood gets. And that's why I tell you don't get involved in the hood. But before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel at Unique Mecca Audio, and this joint is sponsored by Cashbox. Be on the lookout. We making a couple of improvements. We get ready to get the apps. You can test the app out. You send $1. We send $1 back to you just to make sure it works. So if you want to be a part of that participation, please hit me in a DM in my Instagram, Unique Mecca Audio. Now let's get it popping. All right. You know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio. Make sure you like, subscribe, and support the channel. We giving you some real exclusive. Like I said, we got a father and 2 sons lost their lives coming from a club in an SUV. We're going to play this out. Now they're on trial. I'm taking my time to introduce you to the situation because I know my subscribers are a little older and they're from different places and they might not know about this, but this is a real true hood tale. Sit back, enjoy the ride, because you won't even believe this. What do you think the father do at the end of this from what I just told you? Let's keep it moving.
What's up, what it do? Drill Time TV checking in once again. And Young and A's homeboy Ksoo and his cousin ATK Scotty trial underway for that M that took place on January the 15th. 2020. And although both of their attorneys sounded promising in their opening arguments by implementing the beat rabbit off of 8 Mile method, and what's that? By telling the jury everything the state could possibly come up with to say in a negative fashion. Now, although they was in there cooking, the prosecutor still saying they cooked. And in fact, this case is an open and shut slam dunk based on the evidence they comprise that we gonna get on to later on in this video. But first, hit the like button and share this one time for your boy to spread awareness. And if you ain't subscribed to the channel,
you know what it is.
It's a good time to do it now. Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Now check this
I put a lot of work in this research. Now let's jump right into it. Now many of us seen the still image that's floating around of a slender-built gentleman with the 2-tone hoodie and dismissed it as being Ksoo. Me personally, I had no clue. I'm just reporting. That's up to you guys to decide. So let me...
All right, just so you understand what's going on. That slim-built person with the AK running across the parking lot, that gunned dude down, he's about 160 pounds, 140 pounds, and the dude that they're saying that is under that mask is 6'2" and about 220, 240 pounds. So we already know they off. The police testified and everything at the time and the scene of the crime, that got there on the scene of the crime, that saw the person running across the thing, that it was somebody about 5'8", and now in the trial, he's switching it up to say that, oh, from behind the car, looking at the picture, the way he looked, this and that, but I wasn't that close to him, but he was about 6'2", so let's burn the brother we trying to burn, because that's how they work. The whole thing is about getting the conviction. We trying to get this right. We trying to let the youth know don't get involved in the street. So did you understand when I said, let's keep up, let's pay attention. I'm going to do real fast so we keep this moving because we riding. Young man to screen, 140, 160 pounds. The person who they're saying that's behind the mask in the screen is someone that's 220 to 240, 6'2", solid built, so we know that's not him. And only thing that put him in the scene of the crime is a rat bastard saying that that's him behind the mask, and you won't even believe it, his daddy. But we gonna find out why. Let's keep it moving.
know in the comments. However, prosecutors saying Charles McCormick, aka Little Buck from 6 Block, home of Julio Fulio, made a diss track against ATK and spoke on the Willie Addison hit. So on
now, y'all remember Julio Fulio, so y'all get caught up, because I might even bring that in there, because all this getting ready to play out. I'm talking really fast. I'm talking like I'm talking with the homies. So if you don't understand, slow down this YouTube video. So Julio Fulio is a young man that wound up getting shot in the leg. He wound up going out. He made videos in the graveyard, dissing the ops, you know, singing that he smoke on the, you know, on the dead while he's in the graveyard. So he winds up dead. Then they thinking that a young man, Young and Mace, did it because he made a video and he used the Don Julio body on it right after it happened, and he was one of the people that was beefing with Julio Fulio. Pay attention. This sounds a little crazy, but we're going to keep on. I'm sure you're going to understand, because you can slow this down, move it around, and let's go, because I'm trying to speed up to get you up to pace so I can start covering the trial. But you first must know what's going on and how it led to the trial. And this is a very good podcast that knocked this out. Let's keep it moving.
January the 15th, 2020, Ksoo, his brother, his cousin, ATK Scotty, along with his friend Butter and his cousin Torgon, followed Lil Buck from his apartment complex to a temp service called Express Employment. So as they watched Buck walk into the establishment, they parked over in the cut behind his car so they'll be able to spot him when he walked out. So Buck went in there and took care of his business and lined him up a job, but as he was walking out to the parking lot...
Now, so in other words, the young person that they tracking, he goes into a temp agency to get a job to try and change his life, and after he get the job, he comes out with a red folder. As he goes out in the lot, they're sitting there, they're stalking him because of the beef that he had, that he's trying to escape by going to get a job and trying to move forward and get his life right. Now, so that's what's going on. So they stalked him in the lot, allegedly, and wound up running down on him. Pay attention to this, because I want you to see how this play out, because your daddy gonna speak after this.
Driver stated that Ksoo called an audible. Initially, they planned for Ksoo and Scotty to pop out and chase him down and possibly shoot him in the car. But Ksoo friend stated that Ksoo was thirstier than dead grass, and when he seen him, he said, "There you go," and popped out.
You see what I'm saying? His own homies on trial, on the stand, testifying against him, telling that he's the one that popped it, allegedly, and that he said, "There you go," and he jumped out like a bat out of hell because he wanted to get revenge. Let's go. They saying that's the motive.
Out and got right to it. And in that moment, that's when the prosecutor said that Ksoo stood right over him and made a mess with them 223s.
They stood over him and hit him up with 223s. We ride.
I caught a nigga lacking at the stove up his face.
Now, how close would you say you got to him?
All the way to him.
And what did you see?
His leg was separated and half his face was gone.
Did you hear that? She said she stood over the young man and his leg was separated and half his face was covered. Read the description on the screen, because I'm leaving it up for you to hear it during this podcast.
His teeth were on the sidewalk.
Two people who shot and killed this man in Arlington. This is a new picture of Charles McCormick Jr. given to Action News Jax by his family. They say he was supposed to be starting a new job yesterday when he was killed.
Tell me that's not a baby. That's someone's child. But this is what our children is doing out there. And that's what's so sad, that we have to get a grip. Because I can understand the psyche and the mentality of the father of the alleged shooter, because we was out there. And I'm going to break that down to you. Bear with me. Sit back and listen to this. If you don't watch nothing else on YouTube, watch this video to the end. Remember, it's sponsored by Cashbox. Subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel at Juanita Mecca Audio. And let's keep this moving. All right?
We first showed you this surveillance video of the suspects running through a backyard last night at 5. This happened after they crashed a stolen getaway car.
But look,
so they saying that after they shot the dude up, coming out the temp agency, trying to get his life straight, to get away from the problem that he created while they was after him in the first place, they wound up crashing a police car, and now we just showed you video of them police jumping the fence, chasing him, getting away, and then you're going to see that the one allegedly Ksoo that they saying was the shooter, because that's who they saying it is, they saying he got away and he ran away with his rifle, but the other young men, they left their guns in the car, allegedly, and ran up in a female's house, allegedly kidnapped her, allegedly held her down. And can you believe that people like this was in the society is how the world is looking at it? Now let's pay attention and remember, we riding.
Luckily, it was an off-duty cop at Publix in a close proximity that heard the gunfire and gave chase to the stolen Nissan Altima that was being driven by the friend Butter. Eventually, he crashed. Now they hopped out and on feet. Officers say Scotty and Butter ran in one direction towards the house they crashed at, and Ksoo ran in the opposite direction.
See, Ksoo ran the opposite direction. They're trying to say that this is Ksoo right here. So being they're trying to say this is Ksoo, this young man is only 140 to 160 pounds. Ksoo's about 220 to 240 and 6'2", and this young man is 5'8", roughly from the sides of the pictures. The way they break it down, they trying to say it's Ksoo behind the mask. But wait till you hear who they saying, telling that it's Ksoo behind the mask. Let's keep it moving.
The officer put his attention on Ksoo until he hopped a couple fences and got up out of there with rifle in hand and hold one. But prosecutors mentioned that he was caught on a ring camera, and they claim they got footage of the murder. So the off-duty officer radios to the other officers their direction to travel. The officers claim, unlike Ksoo, Scotty and Butter left their weapons in a stolen Nissan and made their way in the backyard of a 57-year-old woman in Bar.
See, they crashed the car, ran up in somebody, 57-year-old woman's house, allegedly, and this is what plays out after that. I'm just giving you the play-by-play so you can keep it moving. That's why we moving as fast, because you already know we riding.
Into her home without permission, try to evade the police. So boom, they make it into the woman's house. She walking out the bathroom and she spot the two guys and tell them, "Get out of my house," but in some colorful language, right? And proceeded to make it out on her front porch yelling help. So the both of them pulled this lady back in her home, and it was said that Butter proceeded to choke her down to the ground and took her phone and threatened to cause further harm if she didn't comply. So then ATF Scotty calls Ksoo brother Crazy K. So then they take the woman's clothing, most likely her husband's that was at work, change into that, and share their location. And then about an hour later, Ksoo dad and his brother pulls up in a red-orange Dodge Challenger. So then they jump in with Ksoo dad and evade the police. And so the lady makes it to her porch, flags down an officer that's still in the area, and gave a description of the perpetrators.
Those men later got away after keeping a woman hostage inside her home for more than an hour. I'm John.
Now, could you imagine how society is looking at this? This is the norm where we come from. And we accept this as the norm because we're psychologically traumatized to accept the abnormal to be the normal. And people from the outside looking in, they say that we have mental issues that we don't even see because we believe it's the norm. Do you understand? I'm going to break this down from a psychological point so you can understand, because here you go, you got a father that's going to be doing his thing, and I'm going to get into that when the father starts speaking. But right now, could you imagine someone breaking your house, holding you down, kidnapping you for hours while they wait on a getaway driver to come? Welcome to America. These are the type of people that they want off the street. These brothers is allegedly charged with this. They fighting for their life. They got co-defendants. They got caught up for various other things and these crimes themselves. And now they're pointing the finger at them, trying to get them down. And you got this young man, Ksoo, that's fighting for his life. And they have a picture of someone that's 5'8" when he's 6'2". The person in the picture is only 140 to 160 pounds, and he's every bit of 200 to 240, so we know that's not him. That's the only thing that linked him to it, because he got away with his alleged rifle. Now, let's keep it moving.
John Bachman.
I'm Tanika Hughes. Action News Jax Elizabeth Pace has been on the story since she first found the woman who was held captive. Elizabeth is live in Arlington, and that woman told you that she's now worried the guys might come back for her.
Could you imagine how that woman is living right now after experiencing that, knowing they're on the run, knowing that they're on trial, knowing that now she has to testify against them? You can imagine how she's sleeping at night. No one should have to go through that. Let's keep this moving. Could we ride?
She's doing much better today and hopeful that police might be close to answers, but now the adrenaline has worn off and she's sore and just anxious that these guys might come back. This is a little bit of what they left over. This is where they crashed. That stolen car looks like part of the plastic bumper here, and then over here we see part of the headlight. Now, although this still sits here on the sidewalk and is a reminder of what happened yesterday, she says she's not going to let them run her out of her own home. It all started at this store in Arlington, Express Employment Professionals. Police say someone shot up the store Wednesday morning, killing a young man. Today I learned that man was an up-and-coming music artist, 23-year-old Charles McCormick Jr. These are new pictures of him given to us by his family. They didn't want to go on camera but told me they're crushed by his loss. He was supposed to be starting a new job that day. Before the suspects could get too far, they crashed their stolen getaway car about 2 miles on Townsend Boulevard. Neighbors gave me this home surveillance video that shows them running through yards and hopping a fence to get away from police. Then they chose a random woman's home to hide and change clothes. Okay, so what happened? So that you just saw them all?
They were in my house. I came out of the bathroom and they were in my house.
We were getting video of the crashed car when I heard screams for help. She told me the two suspects just left her home after holding her hostage for an hour and a half. I helped her over to police and have checked in with her a few times since then. She says she's sore after trying to fight them off, but refuses to let them win.
She's resilient. You never think anything like that's going to happen to you, and especially her.
Kim was the first friend to find her. She also lives nearby.
We've been putting it through our heads, all the different scenarios that could have happened, and we're just so thankful that she's alive. It could have went so many different ways.
Now, we do know that JSO detectives have been back out here collecting DNA, and neighbors are hopeful that they'll make an arrest soon.
Now, Butter had distinct tattoos on his forearms, and the victim provided that information to the police. That same day, officers had her look at a photo spread, and she identified Butter as the one who choked her out, but she couldn't identify ATF Scotty because she didn't really see his face clearly. But to Scotty's surprise, they didn't really need her because when they pulled her back in the house, he left DNA on her clothing. That DNA evidence, along with phone records, proved that Scotty and Butter were the two that broke in his poor lady house and held her against her will while assaulting her in desperate hopes to escape from the police. Inside the stolen Nissan Altima, police also retrieved DNA evidence that leads back to Ksoo and ATK Scotty. The prosecution also emphasized that the two guns recovered from the stolen Nissan that belonged to ATK Scotty and Butter, they were not the murder weapons. They saying that the murder weapon was with Ksoo and he ran in the other direction. They said ATK Scotty had an AR-15 with 27 rounds and one in the chamber and was ready to fully participate, although he didn't pull the trigger. They also found the Glock inside the car with Ksoo fingerprints on the slide. You can't make this shit up.
They loaded AR-15 in the back, 26 rounds, including 1 round chambered, ready to fire. That was Leroy Whitaker's rifle. Wasn't a spectator in this. He was armed and fully willing and ready to participate, and participate he did, even though he did not pull a trigger. Also, a Glock handgun. And on the slide of that Glock, fingerprint. E. Robinson's.
Prosecutors saying that Ksoo hit the cut through a nature preserve park and made it to an apartment complex near Arlington Expressway. And from there, he sent his location to his brother Crazy Chris, who was with his cousin Torgon Williams at the time at Torgon House on Dalehurst Drive, just behind Merrill Road Shopping Plaza. So they woke Torgon's girlfriend up, they've been together 5 years, and told her to drive to them apartments and pick up Ksoo without telling her what happened. So she leaves to go to swoop up Ksoo and bring him back to the house with his brother and his cousin. But not before a witness that stayed at the apartment at the time described a white female driving around the parking lot like she was looking for something but unfamiliar to the area. So she described Torgon's girlfriend in the car she was in at the time. Witness told the officer that she picked up a man in a two-tone hoodie after seeing him walk out the woods. The witness also got an alert on her phone about JSO looking for the suspects and the clothing description including that two-tone hoodie. Prosecutors claimed that the witness got a quick glance at the clothing and ran back in the apartment for her safety, based off the alert. So being that she didn't get a good look at the suspect, she wouldn't be able to identify him. Now, Butter was arrested the same day and started cooperating. This story sounds like deja vu, so familiar, like we...
They said he got arrested the same day and started cooperating. Y'all listen to this? Do y'all see how real it is on the street? This your comrade that allegedly went out to take someone's life and he get caught and he said, there he go, he hiding under the bushes. Come on out, they got us. I know they don't see you under the bushes, but I know you there. Come on out, they got us. How they got us? Maybe because he's gonna tell. Let's see how this play out. What we doing? We riding.
We heard it before. So they got Butter arrested. He pled guilty to second-degree murder for Charles McCormick, a.k.a. Little Buck, and admitted to being the driver. He pled guilty to burglary with assault and battery for running in that lady house fleeing from the police. He pled guilty to aggravated fleeing and eluding law enforcement for taking the police on a high-speed chase driving up to 100 miles per hour. And get this, they said he also pled guilty on a separate murder case. The prosecutor said he in so much shit when he testified, he don't know what sentence he go get. At this point, all he knows is what he looking at, and he's looking at life. In prison. Yep, life with no parole, and according to his guidelines, the minimum he can receive is 41.8 years up to life in prison. But with his cooperation, the judge is allowed to go below that 41.8 threshold. But that's if she decided to, and at the time, she ain't make no promises. Now, one thing for sure and two for certain, Bubba also know there's no way he can get less than 20 years. But at the same time, he could testify and still get life. But the prosecution said they feel so confident that even without Butter, they had enough evidence to put Ksoo and Scotty away for a long time.
Can you believe that this man is telling about his comrades, and as he's telling about his comrades, he's looking at life in jail. So you're telling to get life. How would you tell to get life? Somebody put in the comments, let me know what it is.
Because right before the murder, Ksoo goes on Instagram and tell a 6 Black op, I caught one of your boys slipping right before running down on his prey, bloodthirsty. Ksoo dad Blue pled guilty to 2 accessories to murder. One from this case, another unrelated. I believe Ksoo father is gonna testify that Willie Addison, the guy Charles McCormick dissed in the song, was his son. And him and Ksoo brother Crazy Chris was in a car and got shot while his son Willie died. And after that shooting, they became aware of the song and didn't like it. His son, Duval Jr, aka Crazy Chris, got hit in the head. So basically, Ksoo was furious.
Now, when you watched that video of the murder of Charles McCormick, did you recognize the shooter?
This is the father in the interrogation room, so you see this. You can't make this up. If this don't tell you don't get in the game, I don't know what will. This is a father in the interrogation room while the son is looking at life in jail, and the son got away, but now they need the father to bring the son to justice, you know, for the alleged, you know, unaliving. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Who was the shooter in that video? Your son, Hakeem Robinson. Yes, sir.
Did you hear that? He just said the shooter was his son, Hakeem Robinson, that took the life of another man knowing that his son would get life. Not gonna voice my opinion on that. Y'all do. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think of it. All right?
And obviously he's your son, so you're very familiar with him. Yes, sir.
Leading up to January the 15th, 2020, when he got a call from ATF Scotty and Crazy Chris because they needed help. At the time, still sticking to the story, saying that he didn't know that a murder was committed until he picked him up. But all this seemed rather suspicious to the viewers, especially since Ksoo's father went on the news expressing his pain with the promise of no retaliation. After losing a son and being hit up himself, in the same instance, watching his other son sustain a gunshot wound to the head. Damn, I ain't gonna lie, that's enough.
Yo, do you see that, though? And I mean, I'm going to make light of this, but this is just to change the tone a little bit. He's sitting there, right? That's what they do. They reduce you to flip-flops. Gunshots to the flip-flops. They know once they put many men in flip-flops that they're susceptible to transform into flip-flop wearing bastard intros. But look at this, flip-flop. Do you notice that? Anybody in here, put in what they give you when you go to prison and walk around in flip-flops. What are they doing? They trying to degrade you. And you wonder why I don't like flip-flops. Let's ride.
To make you get in one of them cars.
People shot in a mass shooting last month is now speaking out about the state of our city and what he feels needs to happen to stop the violence.
I think just as well as they're talking about bringing the National Guard in and all that, I think that that's going to be a challenge to the younger guys or whoever out here in the streets, you know, doing what they do.
Abdul Robinson was also shot in the mass shooting. 6 were shot and 1 person died. The man who died was Robinson's 25-year-old son, Willie Addison, who was an aspiring rapper. News4Jax reporter Destiny McKeever spoke one-on-one with Robinson, who now says he wants justice.
And Tariq, there have been no arrests made in that mass shooting. Again, I spoke with the father one-on-one. He says his young son, Willie Addison, was shot and killed, and his other son was shot and wounded. He's still in the hospital, but he says in no way, shape, or form did this family deserve this.
Posted on the fire with Dan, and we get money.
Willie Addison was shot and...
Now, y'all put in the comments, right? The father's saying there's no way they deserve this. They was on the street doing their thing. Do you think that they deserve this, they're immune from this, or they was a part of this, or they're exempt from this? It's your call. You put in the comments, not for me to give an opinion, just to give you something to speak on. That's how we create content. So now, if anyone have an issue with something that I'm saying, because none of this is to disrespect no one, and none of this is to chase views, this is just to enlighten the youth that this is what happens in the real world. So I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to put my number up. If anyone want to call me, or if they have a program they like that they want to share a link for me to speak on, if they like something I'm doing, want to give me my flowers, or you want to tell me that I got something wrong, or you disagree with me, or you got any issues, my number's on the screen. We don't do no faking. We deal with this as men and women, as adults. Let's keep it moving, and let's get back to this program.
Killed after a rap event at Paradise Gentlemen's Club last month. He was in the truck with 5 other people. His dad, Abdul Robinson, was driving.
I guess 2 or 3 cars pulled up on the side of us, shot inside our car over 100 times, killed my son in the front seat, shot my son in the back, in the head 3 times, shot my nephew several times, a couple more passengers in there were shot. Several times, numerous of times, and I drove all the way from there to Memorial Hospital, shot in the back myself twice.
Do you see how serious this is? This is what you call trauma. To me, this is normal. And I know the many of y'all watching this, you saying it's abnormal, it's crazy, and you got all this to say. This is normal. This is just what happened in the hood. You know, and Abdul could sit here speaking on this so callously because this is the norm for him too. And this is the cycle that we have to break so that our children and grandchildren could understand that this is abnormal and this is not the way society is supposed to move, or we're supposed to move in society. Because I did a lot of things that I repent for. And I know I'm no angel, I'm no saint, because none of us are. We all have our flaws. But just look at this. Now, this young man that's on the screen is testifying against his own son. And he's saying that there's going to be no retaliation. And even from him saying that, they still put it together and they trying to make it that his son is the one that was behind the mask that was in the picture while he's going to trial for his life. But now the abnormal part is the father is testifying against the son that allegedly went and got revenge for the father and his brothers, the father's sons. If this don't show you it's a dirty game, if this don't show you it's a dirty game, like I said, I'm just reporting the real. This ain't to disrespect nobody. That's why I ain't even going off on the rat bastard gunshots and all that, because this is real. And this is what we have to come together to prevent from happening in our society. Because, you know, let me ride. I was riding down 8th Avenue the other day and I'm looking, I seen white people with poodles. White people with poodles in 8th Avenue in Harlem. Before I went to jail, there was damn sure no white person in Harlem, and I'm going to keep it 100. I didn't see no poodles in Harlem back then. I'm sure people had them, but I'm just saying they wasn't just walking them on the street. You know, they probably had them pooping on poopy pads in the apartment, scared they might get eaten by the pit bulls on the street or them old wild alley cats. I was out there when the alley cats, you know, were fighting against the hood rats that was this big. and we was fighting against the human rats that was this big. It was rats everywhere. You know what I mean? Just letting you know what it is. But this is how real it is in the hood, and that's why I'm telling you it's not worth it. I seen those days. They took me out of society because I violated the same as they're accusing these young men of violating, and gave me life plus 20. And after 26 and a half years and learning to read and write when I couldn't read and write, becoming a certified electrician, certified plumber, certified HVAC refrigeration, certified mechanic, culinary arts cook with my serve safe, taking 3,500 hours of psychological training so I can get my head right. Now I know that what I did was wrong. Back then, I felt like this young man felt. This is a sad time we live in, but we must come together. Let's ride back to this program.
It's a story hard to imagine, but Robinson says it was reality and he had to act fast. He says he's been through a lot, including his own trouble in the streets of Jacksonville. But today, he wants to clear the air.
Did 11 years in prison, got out 2009. Haven't been in no trouble with the law until a couple of months ago. Nothing serious. And we not getting the same treatment as a victim. Not saying the police not working or doing their job. I don't want to.
No disrespect, Hakeem. No disrespect. When I was on the street, right, I didn't, let me say it that way, because I'm a changed man. I didn't look for the same treatment as tax-paying citizens while I was out there poisoning the community and busting my gun and running from state to state, poisoning their communities. I didn't look for the same treatment. You shouldn't look for it either. Because on the street, somebody do something to you, we already know how we do it. It's an eye for an eye. Not telling nobody to go out and promote violence. That's why I'm telling you, don't even go out there. But that's how it is on the street. So for me to see a man saying that they want the same treatment as a victim of a paying citizen and society member is baffling to me. My brother got shot twice in the head while he was handcuffed. Never would I cooperate to help them even find the killers of my brother. I grew past that, so I learned how to deal with that in my own way, but that's my choice because I'm my own man. And I think, what would my brother want me to do? And we're talking about time, ages, smoothest, and wisdomize everything. So now, for a man to say we're not getting the same treatment of other victims, you're not other victims, young man. I wasn't other victims. The feds came to see me, because don't forget, we ride. The feds came to see me in ADX Supermax around Thanksgiving time in Colorado. And they told me we're here because we want to, help you find, your brother's killers. I said, what good is you helping me? What are you going to do with them when you find them? Oh, we're going to take them to court, take them to trial, and give them justice. I had to let them know, that's not my justice. I don't care about your court. I don't care about you taking them to trial. They said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, And I said, no, I'll tell you what. Yo, God, take me back to my cell. I need to get away from these people. And then they sat there, they looked at me and said, yeah, you go back to your cell and lay down for 23 hours a day from Monday to Friday. And we're getting ready to take our kids over here to the mountains of Colorado while you rotting in a cell. And I said, yes, but I'm rotting a man of honor. I don't need you to help me find my brother's killers, and I'd like to leave now. Sir, thank you. And I exited. Let's ride back to the program.
Say that.
What Robinson is saying is that with Jacksonville having 22 murders in the first couple of months of 2019, he wants people to know he's not retaliating for the murder of his son.
I want justice for my son. I'm not sending nobody out there. They got, quote unquote, I'm supposed to have hits.
Now, just so you understand, because we live, right? Let me put my daughter, make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel. Let me do this so you understand. Under no circumstances did I expect, or would I expect to see him up there saying that I want revenge for my kids, I want revenge for that. So therefore, when I just mentioned to you about, him asking for justice. We don't know if he is or he isn't. I'm just telling you what I would do. Let me clarify that, because I know we got a lot of rat bastards and flip-flop wearing and public trolls. When I was on the street, there's no way I would make a statement like that. I wouldn't even make a statement on news, but to make a statement on the news, what did you expect him to say? This is a real touchy situation, but I want y'all to understand that I'm using this as a tutorial to hopefully deter the youth, male and female, and the elders from getting involved in the street. Because if you could see a father telling on a son after a son going out to allegedly avenge the father getting shot twice in the back and losing two brothers who's the father's son, and then the father testifying against the son that allegedly went out to get revenge? Somebody tell me, is that game worth it when the rules are such? And I'm telling you, that's the norm. But the way you deal with it is differently. I'm not going to get into how it should or should have been dealt with, but I'm sure y'all could read between the lines. Let's keep it moving, because we riding. All right.
And with all the shootings in Jacksonville right now, Abdul says the talk around town is that he is initiating some of it. He's getting retaliation for his son's shooting death. He says that is not the case. He is going to let police.
So let me get this straight. So he done lost one son and he ready to let the police take his other two to save himself? Shit.
You can't judge that. Stop it. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. But this is not a good look with Keem Robinson sitting in the interrogation room pointing the finger to some. We're going to play this out, keep it moving, because I want y'all to see how real it is in the field. Because we riding. I've seen sons tell on mothers. Could you imagine getting caught for selling drugs and holding drugs in your mother's house, and when the feds come and get you, you say, yeah, I put it in my mama's house, give her time and cut my time because I'm telling you that I put the drugs in my mama's house. I've seen that all day, you know, and that disgusts me. But, you know, I've heard of fathers telling on sons, but now you get to see it firsthand when I seen this 30 years ago, being in the feds. Let's keep it moving.
Like Snoop said, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Ksoo lawyer said Pop's ready to sacrifice the whole fam to sit down for 2 more years and hit the streets. Man, the game colder than a polar bear toenail. Fuck friends. You can't even trust a nigga that push you out they sack when y'all got football numbers hanging over your back. We ain't never seen no demonstration like that. America is infatuated and romanticized about gangsterism, so it's almost natural for people not affected by the tragedy to root for the bad guy. And I ain't mad at you, but peep game. If you go out right now and catch a hat and all over the news and they call your parents in and point you out, and you really think you gonna be back in the streets rapping about dead ops? Shit, I don't think so. They took this case to the box, meaning if they happen to lose, it's a wrap. You'll never see them again. Ksoo lawyer mentioned that Bubba a failed rapper and Ksoo just got signed for $40K in 2020. So they was jealous of him, but quiet as kept in 2020, a lot of people was lit. That was the era of PPP where you could find your neighborhood junkie walking around with a 40 or 50K play. And a lot of them still on their feet to this day. And these ain't no random witnesses that seen something from afar. And these the getaway drivers, fuck you talking about Blue and Butter saying this shit and putting themselves on the scene of the murder. And saying Ksoo the sole shooter. I don't know if Butter tried to sauce the story up a little bit, but he said Ksoo was even gonna shoot at the cops, but him and Scotty told him, chill out, shit, this ain't no movie, you feeling yourself too much. Because if they get to throwing back, you done made us all a memory. But at the end of the day, what can we learn from this? And Ksoo father said the way his body set up, he can't do 20 years, he just did 11, he got health complications. And he ain't trying to die on that motherfucker, he said y'all should have let the police do their job. Everybody on the case family but one person, but Nas said it the best. A thug changes, and love changes, and best friends become strangers. Word up.
And they asked me to go pick up Hakeem.
Did you know why they wanted you to pick him up?
No.
Did you ask?
No.
Did you finally agree to do that?
Yes.
Did it seem to you like Torgon or Abdul Robinson Jr. did not want to go pick him up themselves?
Yes.
Where did you have to go to pick Hakeem up?
Up Arlington Expressway and some apartments.
And how did you know where to go?
Kareem
So that's where we at. You tell me if, you know, you feel that running the streets is even permissible. Would you even decide to run the streets after seeing something like this? I mean, look, we have a father in the interrogation room, a best friend telling on a friend. I mean, let me get out of here, man.
Cheers, cheers, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio.
Make a one.